So the Democrat debate was last night on ABC, and just like all the other debates, it was a colossal failure. I don't see how anything these candidates say is going to make anybody or any sane person vote for them. Obviously, they're speaking to a friendly audience who's cheering them for saying some of the dumbest things possible, but let's get into it.
I want to turn to the deadly mass shootings here in this country, and of course we are all mindful tonight of where we stand. We are here in Texas tonight, where 29 people have lost their lives in just the last month alone. El Paso, which we've discussed, in Odessa, and I know there are survivors from El Paso right here in the hall tonight. Vice President Biden, I do want to direct this to you because we all remember Sandy Hook. 26 people died in that school, 20 of them children. Those first graders would be in 8th grade today. At the time, there was a groundswell in this country to get something done. President Obama asked you to lead the push for gun control. You have often pointed to your ability to reach across the aisle to get things done. But 4 months after Sandy Hook, a measure to require expanded background checks died on the Senate floor. If you couldn't get it done after Sandy Hook, why should voters give you another chance?
Because it got done before. I'm the only one up here who's ever beat the NRA.
Oh, have you, Joe Biden? Let's find out what he means when he says that. Biden defends 1994 crime bill, says it helped him beat the NRA. So this is his quote. I'm the only guy ever nationally to beat the NRA. The presidential hopeful said before a New Hampshire crowd Tuesday, because when we did the crime bill, everybody talks about the bad things. Let me tell you about the good thing in the crime bill. So he writes a bill with a bunch of bad things and then uses it to claim that he beat the NRA. It's the one that had the assault weapons ban, a limited number of bullets in a clip. It made sure that cop killer bullets, Teflon bullets, weren't available any longer. It opened up the whole effort to make sure there's a background check for the first time in American history. Interesting, because before this, the United States didn't have a lot of mass shootings. So before the automatic weapons ban, mass shootings, there weren't that many of them. After the automatic weapon ban and after the Teflon bullet ban, mass shootings started to rise. Now, I'm not saying there's causation, but there's certainly correlation. And this whole thing about Teflon bullets, let's take a look at the myth of the Teflon bullet. The myth of the cop killer bullet. So this is what happened. In 1981, bullets were made from brass instead of lead and were punching through some previously untouchable material, but were ruining barrels. So they ingeniously decided to coat the bullets in Teflon to keep from washing out the rifling. The new company was named KWT after the last names of the three founders. In 1982, a year after they had become commercially available in brass, NBC broadcasted a special demonstration showing how the new bullets were capable of penetrating the body armor worn by cops. Instead of focusing on the fact that the bullets were constructed of brass, NBC focused on the Teflon coating, which does nothing to make the bullet go any deeper into the target, only saves the gun barrel from getting stripped. So you can see fake news media goes all the way back, in 1982, but even before that. Just the news has been reporting fake news to the masses for years, for decades. Ever since they started on television, they've been lying to the public. All right, back to Biden. The Clinton-era legislation, which Biden helped craft while serving as a senator from Delaware, has been panned by Democrats in recent years who blame the legislation for causing a spike in incarcerations, particularly among people of color. The legislation offers states financial incentives to impose stricter sentencing laws and enacted a 3 strikes rule that imposed mandatory life sentences if a person was found guilty of a violent crime and had 2 or more prior convictions. So, the 3 strikes law is a universally regarded failure, even the ACLU, I mean, there's multiple articles about this, but we're going to use something super liberal just to show you that even they are against something that they created. 10 reasons to oppose a 3 strikes or out law. I mean, 3 strikes law won't deter most violent crimes because most laws don't deter crimes. Laws only deter law-abiding citizens from committing crimes. Laws, like gun laws, don't deter criminals from breaking gun laws. All right, back to the video.
Only one ever beat the NRA nationally. I'm the guy that brought the Brady Bill into focus and became law. And so that's number one. Number two, after Sandy Hook, a number of things happened. It went from a cause to a movement. Look what's happened now. Mothers, the organization, Mothers Against Violence, gun violence. We've seen what's happened again. Now we have all these young people marching on Washington, making sure that things are going to change. There has been a sea change. Those proposals I put forward for the president had over 50% of members of the NRA supporting them, and overwhelmingly the rest of the people supporting them. Now the numbers are much higher because they realize what I've been saying and we've all been saying is correct. Over 90% of the American people think we have to get assault weapons off the street, period. And we have to get buybacks and get them out of their basements.
Who keeps guns in their basements? If you're keeping your gun in the basement, you better be sleeping in the basement. I think most responsible gun owners don't just throw their guns in the basement unless they have a gun safe. And usually you keep your gun safe in your room. You would keep your gun that you would use for self-protection and home protection in your bedroom, in your bedroom closet, in a gun safe. What good would a gun be to you if you threw your gun in the basement? Nobody keeps their gun in the basement. This guy knows nothing about guns, period.
So the point is, things have changed, and things have changed a lot. And now what's happening is, and by the way Beto handled, excuse me for saying Beto, what Congressman...
That's all right. Senator Harris.
All right, skip that. We're going to go to the next clip.
Harris, you have said that you would take executive action on guns within your first 100 days, including banning imports of AR-15 assault weapons.
She's going to ban imports of AR-15 assault weapons. The AR-15 is manufactured by Colt, which is an American-based company. Now, if we're talking about AR-15 style weapons or guns, or firearms, there's no such thing as an assault weapon. Okay, that's great. Like, what percentage of that is gonna stop? Like, we're just preventing companies outside of the US from being able to sell guns. So we still have American gun manufacturers.
That's right.
President Obama, after Sandy Hook, more than 23 executive actions, and yet here we all are today. In recent days, former Vice President Biden has said about executive orders, some really talented people are seeking the nomination. They said, I'm going to issue an executive order. Biden saying there's no constitutional authority to issue that executive order when they say I'm going to eliminate assault weapons, saying you can't do it by executive order any more than Trump can do things when he says he can do it by executive order. Does the vice president have a point there?
Some things you can. Many things you can't.
Let's let the senator answer.
Well, I mean, I would just say, hey, Joe, instead of saying no, we can't, let's say yes, we can.
Let's be constitutional.
That was so cringe. There's a lot more cringe Kamala Harris parts in the debate too, but God, I'm going to have nightmares.
Yes, we can, because I'll tell you something. The way that I think about this is I've seen more autopsy photographs than I care to tell you. I have attended more police officer funerals than I care to tell you. I have hugged more mothers of homicide victims than I care to tell you. And the idea that we would wait for this Congress, which has just done nothing to act, is just, it is overlooking the fact that every day in America, our babies are going to school to have drills, elementary, middle, and high school students, where they are learning about how they have to hide in a closet or crouch in a corner if there is a mass shooter roaming the hallways of their school. I was talking.
Okay, so does she not want us to have these drills? Because the thing is people are crazy and people are going to do crazy things, and you have a school that's a gun-free zone. Where do you think people are going to come from? And even if someone doesn't come with a, quote, assault weapon or an AR-15 style rifle, they're going to use a handgun. All right? And if they don't have a handgun, they'll use something else. But what is she trying to say? That active shooter drills aren't important? Because here's an article. Florida high school teacher had active shooter training 6 weeks before the attack, and students say it saved their lives. All right. A survivor of the Florida school shooting wrote an op-ed claiming that the training teachers received on active shooters 6 weeks before the shooting saved lives. A teacher interviewed shortly after the event confirmed that the training took place and that things could have been a lot worse without it. So what does Kamala Harris want? She doesn't want your kids to know, and she doesn't want the kids' teachers to know what to do in an active shooter situation. I mean, it's a reality of the world. I mean, in California, we have earthquake drills. I've never experienced an earthquake while at school and had to duck under my desk and do all those things. But you drill things in case something happens. It's called in case something happens. Back to the video.
About this at one of my town halls, and this child, it was 8 years old probably, came up to me. It was like it was a secret between the two of us, and he tugged on my jacket and he said, I had to have one of those drills. It is traumatizing our children. El Paso and Beto, God love you for standing so courageously in the midst of that tragedy. You know, people asked me in El Paso, they said, because I have a long-standing record on this issue, they said, well, do you think Trump is responsible for what happened? And I said, well, look, I mean, obviously he didn't pull the trigger, but he's certainly been tweeting out the ammunition.
Senator Harris, thank you. El Paso.
Oh, yeah. Tweeting out the ammunition. Do you think Walmart will ban tweeting? Because if tweets are ammunition, Walmart should ban tweeting. I don't want to hear another tweet from Walmart ever again.
Paso is your hometown. Some on this stage have suggested a voluntary buyback for guns in this country. You've gone further. You said, quote, Americans who own AR-15s and AK-47s will have to sell them to the government, all of them. You know, the critics call this confiscation. Are you proposing?
What do you mean when you say you have to sell something to the government? Does the government set the price? I mean, how are you going to get people to sell you their guns? Like maybe the dumb people, but I guarantee if I own a gun, you wouldn't know about it and I would keep it.
Taking away their guns, and how would this work?
I am, if it's a weapon that was designed to kill people on a battlefield.
Most weapons are designed to kill people on a battlefield, like, bows and arrows designed to kill people on a battlefield because they used them in war back then. Samurai swords designed to use in a battlefield. I mean, weapons are designed to be used on a battlefield to kill people. That's the whole point of weapons in history. I mean, I don't know.
If the high impact, high velocity round, when it hits your body, shreds everything inside of your body because it was designed to do that so that you would bleed to death on a battlefield and not be able to get up and kill one of our soldiers. When we see that being used against children, and in Odessa, I met the mother of a 15-year-old girl who was shot by an AR-15, and that mother watched her bleed to death over the course of an hour because so many other people were shot by that AR-15 in Odessa and Midland. There weren't enough ambulances to get to them in time. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow
Yeah, gun confiscation laws is going to work out really well in America. All fascist states have taken guns from the citizens and then enacted fascist policies immediately after that, after citizens are unable to defend themselves.
Congressman, thank you.
And I want to say this. I'm listening to the people of this country. The day after I proposed doing that, I went to a gun show in Conway, Arkansas, to meet with those who are selling AR-15s and AK-47s and those who are buying those weapons. And you might be surprised, there was some common ground there. Folks who said, I would willingly give that up, cut it to pieces. I don't need this weapon to hunt, to defend myself. It is a weapon of war.
I'm going to make sure that will never happen with my weapon. Now, people always said, there's so many of them out there. Well, now, there's one less.
Do you guys remember this video? This happened after the Parkland shooting. This guy goes and multiple people, they get all courageous on Facebook and social media, and they're like, we're going to cut up our guns. So, well-meaning gun owner accidentally creates illegal firearm in viral video. A well-meaning but uninformed gun owner accidentally commits a felony on social media in the process of destroying his AR-15. The weapon, which was previously a legal firearm, was made into a legal one when the owner cut the gun barrel below the size allowed by federal law. Scott Danny Papalardo, in response to the recent shooting in Florida, uploaded a video to Facebook which explains his decision to destroy his AR-15 rifle. Papalardo then takes the weapon to a miter saw, cutting the barrel of the weapon in half, and declares now there is one less AR-15. But all he did was saw the barrel off. The gun still operates. Internet viewers, however, were quick to point out that Papalardo, far from destroying the weapon, merely just shortened the weapon. Papalardo cut the barrel and gas tube, but the weapon could still be fired by pulling back the bolt and releasing it. Even worse, the weapon's barrel was now below the 16-inch federally mandated barrel length for long guns. Technically, he had just committed a felony under the Federal National Firearms Act. NFA violations carry penalties up to 10 years in federal prison and fines up to $250,000. As the firearm blog pointed out, Papalardo later posted another photo of the rifle cut up into 3 pieces. Unfortunately, even in 3 pieces, the weapon was not considered destroyed to ATF specifications. Furthermore, using a saw isn't good enough no matter how you cut it. A blowtorch must be used to displace at least 1/4 inch material, in this case 60, 61, or 70, 75 aluminum, to discourage someone from reassembling it. It's quite likely Papalardo's cut receiver is still usable if someone wanted to weld it back together. So this, if you look at the gun, none of this other part is considered the gun. The lower receiver is the gun. The rest of it is part of a whole gun, but in terms of the legal definition of what is regulated as a gun, the lower receiver is the gun, something that liberals have zero idea about.
What we are looking at is a corrupt political system, and that means whether it is the drug company.
Why is he always yelling? Like, why? And this is coming from a former Bernie supporter, and I know the exact moment I decided to stop supporting Bernie, and I know the exact moment that the Bernie support started going downhill, when he got clowned on by Black Lives Matter in Seattle, and then when he took a back seat and decided to endorse Warren. That was when I was like, nope, I'm out. And now he's just turned into this guy.
Or the insurance companies or the fossil fuel industry determining what's happening in Washington, or in this case.
Aren't all the people on stage in Washington? aren't most of these people who are on stage career politicians? How do you think they've maintained their status as a career politician? Do you think that they have taken money from some of these people that they claim to be evil, some of these corporations they claim to be evil? I mean, maybe Bernie Sanders is the cleanest out of them, but now he's just a crazy old guy screaming at the clouds.
You got an NRA, which has intimidated the President of the United States and the Republican leadership. I am proud. I am proud that year after year, I had an F rating from the NRA. And as president, I will not be intimidated by the NRA.
All right, and that is the end of the video. I mean, if you like this video, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, comment if you have something to say, something that I missed, let me know. Until the next video, peace.